We're always told that where there is water, there is life. But in many places in Kosovo today, where there is water, there is conflict. With the boom of the hydropower plant industry across the region, the voices of environmentalists, experts, and local residents have also risen up. Citizens have organized petitions, called for protests, and even been beaten by police while trying to stop the construction of small plants in their villages. So why isn't hydropower so welcome? And is this renewable energy as bad as they say? Kosovo is part of the Balkans hydropower goldmine. There are more than 3,000 hydropower projects being considered across the region. By last year, the Ministry of Economic Development had identified 77 different locations where small hydropower plants could be built in the country. A large number of those locations are found in two national parks, Sharri and Bjeshket and Nemuna. We've always heard of hydropower as a green energy, yet this industry has faced a strong backlash. So how are these plants being built in Kosovo? Each hydropower plant has a number of dams built across the river. Through a system of gates, operators are permitted to divert up to 70% of the river flow into pipes toward the plant. At the plant, the water is put through a turbine, generating electricity before being returned to the river. As simple as it seems, the construction boom is seen as a risk by many experts.
Problem is the production of these hydropower plants on small rivers, of this small hydropower plant on small river, doesn't have a small impact. It has actually a bigger impact. One hydropower plant is actually one obstacle to any movement, any migration, for instance, of species within the river. So if you put 6 of them and actually you divert the water through pipes, you have a result of having, like in the case of Sharri and Brezovica area, almost 30 kilometers of water that will be mainly diverted into pipes. Therefore, in the main water course, or even in tributaries of Le Pence River in this case, all the habitats will be completely modified, sometimes destroyed, and we will have a big loss of diversity in general.
What environmentalists are quick to point out is that small hydropower does not necessarily translate into small impact. Organizations and experts highlight the negative impact on the biodiversity of and around rivers, but they also say this could impact local agriculture and tourism. Now, Kosovo's government has set the high bar of producing at least 25% of the country's total energy consumption from renewable sources by 2020. To reach that, it has given priority to hydroenergy ahead of solar or wind, establishing that 240 megawatts per hour must be generated through hydropower alone. Right now, it only produces about 100. That's only around 2% of the country's electricity, and this percentage is not expected to change that much with new plants. So, given citizens' concerns and the relatively small contribution of hydropower, who stands to gain? Let's talk about the money.
It all starts with subsidies. It all starts with money, no? And so the Kosovo, as all other countries, declared that hydropower is something, when you construct a plant, you get additional money, subsidies.
And in Kosovo, the subsidies translate into feed-in tariffs. So imagine a hydropower producer in Kosovo goes to the Energy Regulatory Office, which manages all these kind of things related to electricity prices. Because they are producing a so-called friendly energy, the regulatory office will happily pay a fixed price for whatever they get. In Kosovo, that fixed price is set at 67.47 euros for every single megawatt per hour produced. And the funny, not so funny part is that the regulatory office will be obliged to pay that money to the energy producer, whether it needs those megawatts or whether they are completely useless in the middle of the night, for at least 10 years. And you might wonder, where does the money come from?
So it's a mixture from government, making the ordinary consumers pay, because the subsidies are paid from the electricity bill. When you get your bill by the end of the month or 3-4 times a year, you finance the destruction of these rivers. Even the people from Stripse or from Peja, from everywhere, they finance with their electricity bill, indirectly or directly, the construction and the destruction of the rivers they fight for. So the system is wrong. So the other thing is that there is a big hydro lobby in Europe. The Balkan rivers are a market. It's the last market for them where they can make money. And they do things here that they were not allowed to do at home.
And he's not wrong. In countries like Serbia, North Macedonia, and Montenegro, there have been clear links between high officials in government and hydropower companies. In Kosovo, we've already seen protection zones in national parks being modified to accommodate dams, and companies are reportedly building without the necessary permissions. And so, what now? Citizens and experts are demanding a ban on new hydropower until a real study of the country's water resources is done, and that laws be revised to protect the environment fairly. A popular petition is bringing hydropower to parliament, where the new government will have to prove its readiness to listen to these demands. As water is diverted into tubes, and as people mobilize to protect the rivers, the overwhelming sentiment of local citizens is against these constructions. But will it be possible to see green energy developing in the country in a truly sustainable way for all? And the most important question, at what cost?